career path, a successful job promotion and interview. Today, we're here with Professor Byrne. She is a Pro Chancellor Business from Griffith University. Hello, Caitlin. How are you doing?
Hi, Puck. I'm doing really well. I'm really excited to be with you and chatting about this topic today. So thanks for the invitation.
Thank you so much for being here and give us your time. So let's have a chat about the first question. So from the Pro Chancellor perspective, in terms of the job interview and job promotion, what are the most important factor for you or the team to consider when someone put up a promotion application?
So we're talking about academic promotions, and they can be quite unique. It can be a unique process. It can be quite a lengthy process. And one of the things I think is really important then is for academics coming through the promotion cycle to be really thinking about their narrative. What is the story that they can tell through the promotion application about who they are as an academic, what they've achieved to date, and where they're going? And so what that whole story tells us about their academic career, their aspirations, and how they're going about achieving that. It's really easy as well as you go into that process to get a little bit caught up in describing the activities that you might have been involved in, rather than the impact that you have had and the impact that you seek to have over time. I think it's really important for all academics, regardless of level, as they're going through this process, to come back and always review their application in terms of what is the impact that they're able to demonstrate and what outcomes have been achieved as a result of that, but through the lens of a story. It's sometimes easy to see a promotion application, firstly, that's been rushed, because that's where you get that activity-based focus. And secondly, where potentially someone hasn't necessarily thought about their broader story, their broader trajectory as an academic. And so sometimes the application can seem a little bit haphazard or opportunistic. It doesn't fit well together. So for me, that's the most important things. All people will review these differently, but that's kind of the first thing that, and the largest kind of element that I'll be looking at.
Yes. So that is actually a very good suggestion to start first with. Make sure that we demonstrate the impact of what we have done through the story. So it should not just be a list of what we have done, but we demonstrate and describe that through a flow of story throughout the application. Is that what you're saying?
That's really it. And I think keeping that consistent through the various parts of that application. Yeah, look, I think that's it, that you need to have a little bit of your personality. One of the things that I have noticed is that for many academics, every story is quite unique. The motivations will be unique. The impacts will be different. The context within which, we all exercise our academic leadership or community building skills will be different. So taking that into account as well.
Yes, you touch a very good point in terms of the motivation, because it is very interesting and I would say very important for us to express on what is the motivation for us to do a certain things. And sometimes if you really motivate and are passionate about something, it's could related to why you're doing it, and it's explained,
Exactly.
give a full picture for the people who are actually reading it. So, okay, so motivation, story, impact through story. So that's very important. Thank you so much for that. Now, let's touch on the next point. You did mention about the promotion cycle, and I would assume that for most of the university at this month, middle of the year, the cycle already passed in terms of submitting the application. So we can plan and think for the next year, which is actually good timing. So we can, because we had to talk to a number of people, deans previously, understand how we can make our application better or fit anything that we could do better. So let's say if I want to apply for a promotion next year, how can I make my case stronger?
I think start by having the conversations with your academic supervisor. You know, it's really important to flag that early because you want to build that case with them for them to understand also where you want to go and to give you advice on, all right, between now and when you might submit that application. In some parts, it's about building your case, but it's also developing your academic career, you know, really strengthening your own impact through that time. You might also think about it 2 years out. You know, I would suggest that often these things take time. One of the elements of a successful promotion application is where an individual is able to demonstrate sustained success. So that requires time. And in academia, you know, that's just the nature of the game. So I do think starting as early as you can with those conversations and talking widely with your peers, really understanding and taking feedback constructively. There's a real art to asking for feedback and receiving feedback and being able to process and digest that in a way that helps you. And I think feedback comes from all different corners. It comes from your peers. It comes from looking at where you sit, you know, particularly in research output, for example, if that's the direction you're going in. And it comes from, you know, others in the leadership space. So I guess the moral of the story is don't hide your light behind a bushel, you know, really come out and let people know where you're going and how you want to get there and that you're seeking their support in doing that.
Yes, that is perfect example of what you mentioned earlier on as well, in terms of let people know of where you want to go, because it's linked back to your motivation of like, what do you want to become? Say, for example, if you want to become, say, Pro Vice Chancellor in the future, so you work your way through since you know, junior, what type of role you need to take, and then have a chat with your head of school or people who are relevant, and then build a plan around that, or people who want to be teaching or research or balance, so they can build their plan there. So plan in advance and be open-minded in terms of what we're doing well, what we are doing not so well, because at the end of the day, you know, just take me as an example. We don't want to find out on the day that we, you know, talking in terms of the job promotion application. Best to know that earlier, try to enhance and make us better beforehand, and then, you know, we keep going with that. So that is pretty good suggestion there. Plan ahead. And then you say one word which is, I like it a lot, which is grow with your grow your personality, and also grow your job with the school. So, you know, you talk to them and see how you're going to grow with them, not just tick on the box on how to become, you know, get a promotions and all that.
You know, this is something else actually, Park, and it may come up in some of the other questions, but there is also an element of, you know, it's really important to demonstrate your success as an individual. It's also really important to demonstrate, particularly as you develop your leadership as an academic, how you're contributing to building a community and contributing to whether it's your discipline, your department, your university. So there's a wider community building piece that needs to underpin the story that you're developing. And I think that's something, sometimes it comes under service, but it's deeper than that as well. So I just mentioned that.
Thank you. I love that part of the community service that is beyond internal service, would you say? So probably this video series that I'm doing probably fit into this community service as well.
That could well do, Park, actually.
Definitely. If we can show the impact of how it's actually changed mindset or help people in terms of that. Now, you touch about community service role. Can I ask you, as an ECR, early career researcher, do you think taking a service role or a leadership role would contribute to their success in terms of, say, a lecturer to a senior lecturer level?
It's a really good question. It will depend on the academic involved, but I would suggest that I would approach this question with a little bit of caution, because for early career academics operating in a very competitive environment, I think the number one thing that you need to focus on, including for your own visibility, is really excellent research outputs, quality journal publications. That is a great way of getting visibility in the academic space and building the kind of track record that you really need to have early on, and that's something that you can then also show that you're able to sustain. So I would approach service roles cautiously in the early years.
Yes.
I think what you can do is demonstrate service to discipline, in terms of how you're reviewing other papers, because all of that is building your own academic scholarship, contributing to journals in other capacities, contributing to the discipline you're in. But I would caution against taking on much larger or administrative service roles in those early years, because it can take time is gold for academics, and particularly when we're building a publication or a grant income track record. So I think about the impact it has on your ability to deliver in the research and in the teaching and learning space.
Yes.
Those are the core things you need to get right first.
Yes. So you're saying it is not necessary to have a service role in the very early stage, because there might be some service role that is sucked out of your time, and you might end up not doing anything else. So it's have other things. And can I touch a bit about excellence research output that you mentioned? This word, excellent research output, do you refer to the quality of publication as well as the citation of those publications as well? Am I right? Or just the number is okay? Don't need anyone to cite them.
No, I think you've raised a really good point, and it's all degrees, right? It's there are, and different disciplines will have different disciplinary norms, and you have to think about that. But I think if you can aim for very good quality publications, but also think of the strategies that allow you to build your citation record. The two together really matter. They strengthen your case.
That's right. Yeah.
So I think it's important to think about a holistic kind of strategy. Just having excellent publications that nobody reads, it can undermine your case a little.
Exactly. And the publication, the citation, it will then later on link to grant application that will be helpful in the future should anyone like to apply for a grant there as well. Now, you actually have touched in terms of the visibility of early career academic in terms of the publication. Is there any other strategy you'd like to suggest or recommend people in terms of their building the visibility to, say, the public or to the government?
Absolutely. So I think there are a lot of opportunities for academics to engage, for example, in a wider public discourse through media engagements. Now, you have to, again, think about how you're engaging with media and what types of media. Aim for those that get maximum kind of readership and impact. So in my space, the conversation can be quite an effective tool for speaking to issues that have contemporary relevance, but also highlighting your research expertise through those. It just draws more people to your work and also is suggestive of a policy impact, so that the relevance of your work to broader society. The other thing you can think about is looking at parliamentary inquiries on topics that might hold relevance for your particular research or discipline, engaging in policy-related discussions. But again, you have to be careful, finding that golden thread between the work, your research outputs, and the excellent quality that you're able to demonstrate there, really finding that thread between that and the kind of policy engagement you're having. It's not enough to just attend a government workshop. You want to be speaking at something. You want to have input. You might want to be facilitating a policy dialogue or writing new policy. So, and then thinking about how do you track the impact that has. So again, it's that full spectrum that you need to consider in terms of your own visibility.
Yes, very good suggestion there in terms of the parliament policy writing, and also the conversation where a lot of people have their access to go as well, and they do have a training from time to time, and it's really good to translate the academic paper or work or project into the language that say a year 12 can understand, and yes, publication the conversation get a lot of the audience, especially the news agents, come and look at it, and they might invite you to do some other things, so which is very interesting and exciting. Yeah.
I forgot to mention professional associations as well. You can engage with those, and that's a great way of just building your network, but also demonstrating the relevance of your work.
Yes, thank you. Now, if I were to apply for promotion, do you think, is it a good idea for me to have like, or maybe I don't need to apply for promotion, but is it a good idea for me to have like a mentor to help me and guide me in through things?
Absolutely. And maybe not even one. Maybe you want a couple of mentors that can give you some direction, because we know that the academic life is multidimensional.
Yes.
And sometimes you need different forms of advice on how you're crafting that narrative, how you're building your career profile, and where and how to identify the right opportunities and pass on the opportunities that might distract you from that career that you're trying to build. So absolutely.
Sure, thank you. And I like when you're saying you can have more than just one. One, there could be a few specific aspects. Like for myself, I have someone about teaching, about project grants, about publication, and about politics. So there's a few range of the people who you can trust and then grow with them as well. So that's
I think that's
really
it.
good there.
And also remembering that mentorship happens in both formal and informal ways. So, recognizing mentorship can come to you in very different forms and formats, and being able to absorb that.
Sure. Yes, perfect. Now come back to for a job interview, academic job interview element. So let's say if we have to, because nowadays when you go to in the old day, I just see associate lecturer and associate professor and professor will have to do a guest public speaking. But nowadays, in some university, I have seen that even a lecturer level, they might need to give 15 minutes a guest lecture of some sort. Do you have a recommendation on how this candidate could prepare themselves? Of course, they have to learn on the topic they've been asked to, but apart from that, what would be the tips?
Oh, really good. I would say practice, practice, practice. That don't think you can wing it on the day. You want to be confident about your content, but you also want to be an authentic person. Somebody demonstrate. Again, it's a little bit of personality, and really put your best self forward. So doing that with ease, with grace, with humor, recognizing that in many cases the audience wants you to be successful, can help. So I think practice is, really going through the motions with a friendly audience that can give you some feedback before you go into the real thing. I think that can be quite invaluable. It's hard to do, and it can feel a little bit embarrassing. But what it does, I think, as well, is it helps you step into the space with confidence. I think you have to go into those spaces owning them.
Definitely.
There is no room for doubt, no room for self-doubt. Just go in and really give your best self.
Yes, you actually give a very good suggestion in terms of giving your best self and all that, which is linked to the next point I'm thinking of asking, which is how a candidate could demonstrate that they can be fit into the culture of that organization.
A really good point, because not everybody, cultural fit will vary from person to person, institution from institution. So I think number one, and we know that people are in this competitive environment, you're going to be looking for jobs across, many academics are looking for jobs across the country. Being really familiar with the culture and the value set of the institution you're going into matters. Demonstrating that you know what that culture and fit looks like, and I would even suggest speaking to what that means to you somehow through your presentation will be picked up by the audience. So it does matter. I think as all institutions are looking for the best cultural fit, sometimes even above the best sort of academic performance, cultural fit can be a more important marker for successful outcome.
Sure. Thank you so much. And do you have one last suggestion before we finish off today?
No, but I do think be discerning about the opportunities you go for if you can. That's not always possible. Really know what motivates you, why you're going for certain promotions or roles, and recognize you might get feedback along the way that says, just wait another year, and that's okay. It's a funny game being in academia. It's such a rewarding one, but it does take time and it takes a little patience. So I think working with colleagues and peers and mentors and really being open to feedback that you get, including the feedback that sometimes you don't always want to hear, that can matter.
Thank you so much for the suggestion. And as always, when we apply for this type of, application, we should always be open-minded, ready to learn and adapt and improve. And this is Career Path, a successful job promotion and interview with Professor Caitlin Byrne, Pro Vice Chancellor Business from Griffith University. Thank you very much, Caitlin.
Thank you, Park.